So today we were just having a very personal conversation about just growth and examination. And you wanted to present the subject today for our discussion, which is it is personal, but it's more broad. So why don't you just take it away?
Yeah. So what I'm noticing with clients and friends is this theme of wellness is dead. But what I'm
Who coined
noticing is
that?
that
Who coined that?
you,
I'm fucking putting that on a t-shirt, okay?
but that there's this grief because they feel they've been sold a bill of goods and that it's continued by practitioners they see that quote unquote the healing is never done. So there's never an arrival point, there's never an enoughness, and that how that shows up in the psyche is, am I just broken? Right? So I remember when I was in my master's program, one of the things that they really talked about, because a lot of people come there with religious, like third eye blockages of having, being raised in a religious home and their own truth being up
Come
against
where?
an ideology. Come to
Come,
USM, my
okay.
master's program. But one of the things they said is they presented this idea that instead of original sin, original innocence. And one of the things that they,
I feel that
um,
you meet a baby. It's pretty self-explanatory.
100%. I also had, oh my God, I hope this doesn't offend anyone, but I had this theory of like, what if immaculate conception is that the love was so pure?
Oh,
And I was like, what? I had that thought the other day and I was like, what if that's what it was?
that's what it is.
Right? That Mary
I
and Joseph,
love
that was
that.
so pure that this baby was born through the most pure loving act. And it got misconstrued. But going
That's
back to this,
beautiful. Let's
I know I'm
rewrite the
sticking
whole
with
thing.
that. I'm sticking with that. So, you know, this idea that people are forever broken. One of the trainings that I probably took away the most, other than neutral observation, meaning not bringing oneself in or projecting oneself onto one's client or whatever, is this idea that of seeing, which I do, every single one of my clients as whole. I never walk into a session saying this person is broken and
Right.
needs healing, ever. What I see is their wholeness, and it becomes a conversation, contemplation, and a term is overused, but a genuine like holding of space for an examined life.
Yeah.
Socrates, the unexamined life is not worth living. And this idea that like, no, we come here broken in need to be healed, then you're on a treadmill, as opposed to like, how do you take care of yourself, literally, or take care of a garden? Sometimes you have to weed, sometimes you have to, water, and a kind of recognizing that we're dynamic, ever shifting, but not from this idea of being broken. And so that then extends to physical health, right? Like, oh, I'm ill, or I there's such a default or assumption that I'm going to get ill, kind of like what we talked about last time, that I have to lean into orthorexia in order to heal because I'm fundamentally sick all the time. And like, that is the essence, that's the engine that drives our economy anyway,
Yeah.
right?
Right. Need to
So,
consume to be whole.
yes, I'm not good unless I'm wearing this dress and I look like this, right?
Mhm.
And the consumptive, instead of natural we go to the market, you need things, for the home, or you need to adorn yourself or whatever's in. It's like this
Oh, my jewelry
hungry
addiction
ghost.
does not make me whole.
But I'm going to get a little literary here. Henry James in the 19th century, he had a novel called The Ambassadors, and the characters, the wealthy characters, would run to Paris and consume, and he called it a sacred rage. This idea of like consuming out of this place, and we've just put that on this new thing, which is wellness. And, you know, we've brought up that the alternative medicine world is $1 trillion, but it's more than the pharmaceuticals.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. So we have just turned this thing. And then on just a deeply emotional level, especially, okay, you take in this idea of like relating, right? And attachment disorders and like a kid isn't shy. They have, severe social anxiety, like these things. And so we're set up with this idea, and I'm going to stop talking in a second. And then this moves into this other
Don't.
conversation that I was having um, about in the small town that I live in, talking to kind of the de facto, she's kind of like the de facto mayor. And we were talking about how she was, mentioning these certain real characters. Like if you were watching a show about a small town, like a client actually was bringing up Gilmore Girls and like akin to, well, in a show like that, people's quirks and their foibles and their even their like known flaws, in this case, like, someone who's a vet, who's been through something, the town knows and they allow for it, right?
Mm.
Because you have to live together on some, right? You're in a town. And when everything becomes a problem to be solved, I'm just going to tell one more story. I had this very close friend in our early 30s, she was getting married and her mom is an alcoholic. And she was very worried about the wedding. She was very like, what do I do? Do I just have a dry wedding? And her therapist just said, what if you just let her get drunk? Right? It's kind of like that Mel Robb. I don't like things that become tropes, but like, why do we have to fix everything? Like,
Yeah.
yes, being an alcoholic may not be great and she may be killing her liver, but like, I, I don't know. I'm so tired of everything, us not allowing or giving grace to people and characters. And we've like, where are all the like, growing up in New York City, you had the guy on the corner that was like, whatever. Where is that?
Well, it just becomes so extreme. I mean, you've said so many things that I want to go back to. So the first thing I want to go back to is the thing about this idea that we're always healing and never done healing. And it kind of reminds me of the thing that we were talking about right before we hopped on, and something that you and I have both personally been interfacing with, which is kind of looking at our life path and looking at the choices that we made and asking ourselves, like, well, what if we had done it differently? Or
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
why did I internalize this story and then it made me do X, Y, and Z behavior for, 15 years or whatever? Like,
Yes.
and I've really been looking at that. And I could look at it from the perspective of, and you could, and anyone could, from the perspective of, well, I have to heal this quality of mine and fix it because it's something that's like fundamentally like broken about
Right.
me, which is, I think, what like kind of therapy would teach you,
Mm-hmm.
or
Mm-hmm.
psychedelic, or all the things that are trying to
Mm-hmm.
like rewire your neural pathways. And like, you can look at it from
Yeah.
that perspective. Like, sure, there's some benefit to that, but then it tips over into this place of like non-acceptance and non-integration. And so the way
That's the.
I've been looking at it is like, actually, those things that I internalized were put in my path because those were things that I was meant to feel pain or shame or
Mm-hmm.
dis-
Mm-hmm.
distance with myself around, because those are my agreements. Like, I think the thing that would talk about this the most would probably be astrology, right? Because you have
Right.
your aspects,
Yeah.
you have all the things that are there, your
Yes.
challenges and your beneficiaries, and all of these things are
Yes.
put in your path on your soul's journey of evolution. So it's not like they're there to fix them. They're there to integrate, examine, and expand into a place where you can use them in your life to help other people and to be of service in some capacity. Like, if it wasn't for the pain or the insecurity or
Mm-hmm.
the whatever fucking
Mm-hmm.
internalized perfectionism that I have and all these different
Yeah.
things, I wouldn't be able to do what I do in my life with my friends, just for an example, which is to be able to relate so deeply and have healing conversations that are not about fixing someone, but it's about understanding that like these things bring us together rather than separate us. And I think when you're talking about always fixing it, it's a it's a mode of separation instead of a mode
Yes.
of connection. And I think when you talk about quirky characters and people who have gone
Mhm.
through, like, that's why I love fucking TV, because I'm like, that guy's deeply flawed and I fucking love it. But it brings you
100%.
together, draws you in, and it makes you like someone more. Like, the more idiosyncratic a character is, the more you're like, that's the best fucking character I've ever seen. But in life,
Yes.
idiosyncratic, you're like, give me all the SSRIs. And so it's just,
Yes. Yes. Like, I'll use myself as an example, right? Like, my biggest flaw in relationship is I shut down. I have been working on this. It is really hard for me. Like, if we are in the middle of a conversation or he's bringing something up, I shut down. It's such a deep, my mom did it to me. Like, it's, you could say I'm trauma, whatever. It's just, you can look to my astrology. You can look to this. It's really challenging for me. I have to sit with something for a long time to
mhm,
be able to articulate
mhm,
what I am feeling, you know, and it's really hard for me when I hurt him.
mhm, of course.
It's really hard, but it's even harder for me to express that in the moment,
Mhm,
right? And I can read all the information on it. I can be like, I have a mother wound and I have this and I have this, but like, I don't know this is getting fixed. I know it's something we have to work with, you know? He's got other things, right? It's and I really am grateful for when he allows me grace with it,
mhm,
right? And like that's and then it's my job to allow him grace for his stuff without it being diagnostic. I'm sure anybody who listens who would be like, "Oh, you have this, that." Yeah, okay. But in my body, in the moment, it is literally like a shutdown. So you can read a theory about it, but I'm saying what's happening inside of my body. It just
and also labeling it as something doesn't help it. Like, I find people do that a lot where it's like, "Well, I'm anxious attached." And it's like, "Okay, but how is that
what is
helping
that?
work
Yes.
with in the moment?" Like, knowing that is almost like excusing you from integrating that
Yes.
and kind of admitting that and shifting your behavior around it. Like, I think the labels keep us oftentimes trapped because it's like a write-off.
E exactly. And it's like and then, like, if you name it, then you can just heal it and it can just go away.
Right.
And, I think there is just something that is fundamentally missing in the conversation, which is like, we're really strange beings. And
We're
also, we're like
complex.
on a green and blue ball, I guess, unless you believe it in a flat earth. We're on a green and blue ball in the middle of nowhere.
Wait, do you know how I'm obsessed with flat earthers? Like, I don't
Wait,
believe that.
Daniel is too.
Um,
He's
that
like, wait, he brought something up. I'm totally going to forget it that he was like fascinated by that they believe that. He like goes down like rabbit holes around it. Like
I mean,
he
I wish
thinks
I could
it's
talk to him about
fascinating.
it because my friend's like dad is a flat earther, and, which just like is so amazing to me. And his proof that the Earth is flat is a photo that he took out of an out of an airplane window where the skyline, like the skyline is a line, and he's like, "Look, the Earth is flat." I'm like, "No." I love it so much.
But
I'm like, "Well,
but you
there you
love
have
it.
it."
But you love it. That's the
Love it.
difference, right?
Yeah,
That's what we're missing. Like
yeah,
that you love that.
yeah. I mean, I
That's
love
what I'm talking
all
about.
stuff like that.
Yeah. Exactly. But that's
Even like the no viruses thing that we are talking about last week. All of a
yes,
sudden,
it's like
I'm like, wait, hold on. Scratch the record on how I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Now I'm like, please tell me more. I like must know the full theory. Like, I was talking to my friend, she's like, well, they don't believe in germ theory. And I'm like, okay, what do they
like they
like?
believe in terrain theory. Is that
I,
it? They believe in terrain theory as opposed to
no, they
germ.
believe that all illness is is trauma.
Yeah.
In our conversation, which like this is the thing about all conspiracies and all like nutty kind of out there thing is that there is some truth to it. Like, there are
Huh.
illnesses that are manifest through trauma and stored emotion, obviously, because like the body keeps the score. We hold emotion in our organs. You
Yes.
can look,
Yes. All that's true.
that's verified through thousands of years.
Yeah.
Like, not like
Sure.
they've taken this nugget of truth and then like expanded it into this whole other thing, which that's why I'm obsessed with it. Cause I'm like, wow, I love how people can just run with shit.
Yeah, and just like dive in, like, I also find it like fascinating how people are obsessed with public figures who are women. Like, no, they're men.
Oh, this is my other favorite thing. No, I'm like, people go deep. Like, I was talking to my friend about it because I was like, the only one that I kind of think is real is the Bridget Macron thing
Mhm.
Candace Owens did, because like she just makes such a compelling, insane case for it. I'm like, okay, that might be like it's
Did
not
you read the
implausible.
Coleman Hughes piece, like debunking her in the Free Press?
No, oh no, I didn't. Should I?
Yeah, I mean, I love Coleman Hughes. I think he's fantastic. But yeah, he's just very thoughtful in everything. But yeah,
Oh, I
he
love that
basically
guy.
debunks
I
it.
his podcast.
Yeah,
He's great. So whatever, either whether it's true or not, it's no fucking sweat off my
yeah.
back. But the one my friend told me that there's like this whole faction of people who think that Jennifer Aniston is I'm just like
Like this is what I'm
I'm
saying.
like, where is this coming from? Like, it's just like they can't believe that a woman can just be so like whatever strong and beautiful that she has to be. It's actually it's quite anti-feminist if you think about it.
It's just like yes. So I'm like someone said that someone I know was like believing it, and I was like, that's I don't have, but who cares?
Yeah. Did we
Like
talk about this?
that's
How like
no,
our the cultural, and maybe this is part of the wellness conversation as
yeah,
well, which is that like the cultural need for surety and knowingness is the demise of our consciousness.
100%.
And
Because
this
it's
is
like the
why
middle
we're
path.
all so at each other's throats, because we feel like we have to know what's right. We have to know what's true. And the irony is that it's fucking impossible to tell you what's true at this point. And what's
But
right
also
for me,
it's
right for you are not the same thing.
right. But it's like, you know, what it also just feels like avoidance of whatever's in the, like, okay, for example, if you're like, you know, Louise, whatever, is a man and is in the neighborhood, like I'm cool with it. But like, and I'm not talking about trans stuff. I'm talking, well, I guess that sounds like true, but like, someone who like Michelle Obama, right? That's one of the ones
Great
that
series.
everybody says, wait, can you hear
Love
me?
it.
Right? I'm not talking about the trans conversation. I'm just saying, like, if it's in your neighborhood, like, okay, maybe it's, but like this obsession with someone in France when you live, like, I just think it's, I don't know. Why are we so obsessed with everything happening everywhere else?
That is a fucking
That's
big,
what I want to know. Or like people that we don't know.
yeah. Well, we put people on pedestals. So we do two things. We do savior or we do devil.
Yeah, well, it's so uninteresting. It is
It,
so boring.
yeah. It's very much, but that's what causes, and then we do the same thing with supplements. We do the same thing with food. We do the same thing. Like, it is true that
Mhm.
we are living in a much more toxic reality than we ever
Yeah.
have. And I think that to just like this morning, I got out of the gym and I looked at the sky and it's just fucking lines everywhere. And
Hmm.
I'm like, I don't know what that is.
Hmm.
I don't
It's not
think
natural.
it's not. And the thing that made me the most sad, and because it happened yesterday where Asher saw them and he was pointing at them and yelling at the sky. And I was like, my children are going to grow up in a
Mhm.
world where they think that's normal, where they think that's what the clouds look like.
Yeah.
And that's what made me the most sad is I was like, we're normalizing things or we're just letting things exist without saying anything and moving through it without like, I'm going to explain to him that like, that's synthetic something. I can't tell you exactly what it is, potentially aluminum, like they might be
Yeah.
spraying things on us to make us dumb and sick. I don't put that past the fucking whoever the fuck it is. I don't know. It's a theory that I've entertained. But at the end of the day, am I going to spend my every single day like focusing on that and worrying about it? And like, no, I'm just going to do my best to detox. I'm going to sweat, I'm going to like take the best
Right.
care of myself that I possibly can, but not spend every second feeling like I'm sick because that is an internalized thought that creates a negative reality. Like that is true about what those people are saying.
Yes.
If you're constantly feeling like you're unwell, you are going to manifest that reality. Oh no, I hear Asher.
Right. I do. It's a baby. Well, he's not really a baby anymore. It's like toddler.
Yes, she
But
8-month-old came
this,
over. He looked like a teenager next to him. It was insane.
but this is. It was also when you were saying that I was like, oh, you're going to have to explain original clouds to him.
Yeah,
You're also how like that kids today don't know what it's like to hang up on someone.
I know all the things.
But that so that I mean, clouds are. And I also thought like you moved to Tennessee because the clouds are normal here.
Well, every time we talk, I want to move to Tennessee.
um, I think that there's something about just going back to this and like making anything wrong, right? So like, well, this idea, right? Like devil or like again, who really cares if she's
Yeah,
if
why
she
do we care
what?
about this? That's the
That's what I'm
difference.
saying.
And I feel like Candace Owens like does that a lot. Like I also think she has
She's
I
gone off the rails. That's a whole other
yeah,
conversation. I mean,
that's like whenever I mention her, like I feel like people think like, oh, you're aligned with Candace Owens. I'm like, no, this is the thing. I'm not aligned with anyone. Some people say interesting things, and I take that for what it is. And then sometimes they say crazy things, and I take that for what it is. But I'm not like you said something crazy and something interesting, so now you're a fucking asshole. I'm just like some things you've said make sense,
yeah,
and some you said I don't align with. But I'm not judging the entirety of your body of work based on the thing that I think is insane necessarily. I'm just saying I resonate. Like that's the other thing is that we don't piecemeal our own ideology and our own experience. We just like align or disalign. And like I saw someone online the other day posting a video how they're like anti Maha. And I'm just like, but what does that mean?
who
Like what
knows?
do you
Who knows? Who knows? Who?
like
This is what I'm saying. It's like everything's anti, or that's bad but like if one's orientation is also that's the culture war thing. It's like everything over there is bad and everything over here is good and everything over it's just I also think there's a whole thing and a whole personality type which is and a whole public personality type which is just finding everything wrong with X, Y, or Z.
yeah.
It's very negative in its orientation. Can you see me or
Yeah,
hear
you're
me?
for a
I
second,
feel
but
like
you're
you're frozen. Okay.
you're
I
back.
have all the bars. Okay. Like where everything is bad. And I'm going to say that about Candace Owens. Like everything that she points out is negative. I kn-
Yeah.
and that is something that I notice on both extremes. They only point out what's terrible.
Yeah.
There's a lot of amazingly beautiful things happening.
It's funny that you're saying that because I was just about to ask you right before you said that is like when we talk about this stuff with wellness, like I guess what I'm interested in us kind of cultivating is a path where there's a solution, where
Right.
like a solution for the average human, not saying like not solution oriented, like now let's fix this. I mean, like, what is the antidote on a personal level for feeling that barrage of pressure or of wanting to be healthy and wanting to feel good and wanting to feel spiritually aligned without making it this thing that's a hungry ghost? Like,
I think it's just living your life. And yes, that's what I'm saying. Like living your life and maintaining your body like you would a garden. And you're going to weed sometimes and you're going to flower and you're going to water sometimes. And you're without this, everything is bad and everything is fearful. I mean, I think it's also, there's a lot in our life that's out of our control. I think a lot of this is if I do this, this, and this, nothing bad will happen. I think there's a lot of like intention that's like, I want to offer, I want, I don't want people to get sick. I don't want people to be in pain. I don't want people, but I just think part of it is accepting that's all part of life. Right. And like, I think about like the OG teachers, like more recent OG teachers like Carolyn Mace, who I always mention, or like Pima Chodron. And it's like, I think what it is, like tapping into this is like there's a lot of beauty in just working with life.
Yeah.
And someone was describing to me like the fourth way, which is like to live in the to accept and live in the world that you are alive in.
Yeah.
Meaning like I can have, phone nostalgia of like, I'd love to live in 1789 in, an English manor or whatever, but I don't. I live now. And how can I find the beauty and embrace it? Maybe that's it. Maybe that, like, there's just there's rage and againstness. And I think a big part of well-being is acceptance. Accept, right? No amount of self-improvement can make up for a lack of self-acceptance. But like
Mhm.
and then acceptance. It's like when Ram Dass went to go see his teacher and the teacher was like, what's the teacher's name? You're like, I don't know. And he's like, don't
Yogananda.
you know it's all okay?
Is that right?
I think so. Don't you
Yeah.
know it's all okay? Don't you know? Like, that's it. Like,
Yeah.
isn't that like, isn't spiritual truth presence? And isn't this all, aren't we all floating here in a very temporal way? Like, we're visitor. Also, I do believe the earth is going to way outlive us. Like,
Yeah.
and the earth is magnificent and beautiful. And like, yeah, you know, I care a lot about it, but I also think it's going to outlive us.
The other thing is that like we have to be really conscious of like the fear, I think, is what breeds the negativity and pointing out what's wrong.
Yes.
And we have to be really careful of, I mean, I turned off like most notifications on my phone, but then my dad had me download this like news app because he sends me like 87 different articles a day. I got sick of being like, I don't have that app. So
Yeah.
I just fucking downloaded it so I could like relate to him. Um, and so I still get some
Yeah.
updates. And I notice that if you are to internalize every update that
Oh
you,
my God.
what's happening is there's like an aggressive, not subtle at all, fear campaign running 100% of the time in every direction, whether it's about health, whether it's about, I mean, there's, for me, obviously, health is the thing that's like my passion and that I like care most about. But like, it's in every fucking direction. Every day, there's at least 10 updates about something horrible that's happened. There's an outbreak, there's a plane crash, there's
Mhm.
Trump's doing something horrible, this, that, and the other
Mhm.
thing. It's all just designed to make us feel like so afraid that we have no choice but to give our power to someone who's going to tell us what to do. Because
That's it. That's it. So like what it's like, where is the beauty? Like for me, this when I go to the, just even my morning strength training classes, this community is so this group of women, it's so beautiful. And like the showing up for one another. And it's like that's what I'm saying about it being localized. Like we're all out there, but what about like what's happening right around us?
I mean, my neighbor texted me today, asked me if I wanted fresh goat milk and bread from her farm. Like, yeah,
Stop it.
yes, I do.
Exactly. Like there's so
Yeah.
much beauty in that. And when you just look people in the face and spend time with them. And I honestly, I think that's a giant part of well-being. It's like we've missed it for all the like things and practices and consumer, but the being part of
Did you send
the
me
work.
that? Or it was like those two guys on a podcast were talking about the alternate,
Yes.
that book that was like a new study of basically like human longevity.
Oh,
And
altruism. Being
yeah,
altruist. Yeah.
and the guy was saying that community is the thing that made people live the longest. Like they
Yeah,
talk about the blue zones and they talk about it being because of the food that they eat in the air, but really
it's
what it's about is
the
about how to
community.
support each other.
Yes, it's community, faith, and family.
Yeah.
That's like those are the cornerstones of
Yeah.
because it gives you something to live for beyond yourself.
And I don't know about you, but like, okay, for example, yesterday I was on my phone more and I posted like a video about perfectionism in Virgo season and
Mhm.
then the sync was off. And then I also realized that I said full moon and not new moon.
Mhm.
It was a whole fucking spiral.
Wow.
And then like my friend was texting me like, you gotta take that down, like the sync is off. And it was just this whole like thing. So I ended up spending like way too much time like
Yeah.
in Instagram. And then like once I'm like in it, then I'm like weirdly like
Mhm.
mesmerized and tethered to it. And before I was going to bed, I was like, oh, like what is that like pit in my stomach? And it's literally because I was on my phone way too much.
Yeah, because it's
And I was like, whoa, like I lived a whole day in like this weird, reality that was just like taking something from me and
Mhm.
instead of putting it down and looking around me. And I feel like I say this all the time, but you can't and if you scroll fucking any social media, it's like it's all about perfectionism in consumption and wellness. And like this is the thing. I don't want to demonize the wellness thing because I feel like it's a better alternative than just going straight to pharmaceuticals and straight to pills. And I think that's why it's become so popular because there is an awakening that that system has is failing people. We're like, how many people are like on drugs, pills, whatever,
Mhm.
then give them like 8 other side effects. And then so they have to take another pill. And then they're constantly chasing that. So I think the awakening is like, wait, maybe this isn't like the correct path for like my ultimate well being. So there's something really beautiful in that. But if the consciousness just transfers to something else,
Well, I
then
think
yeah, we're right
yes.
where we started. And so why I always say it, like if you're gonna go into wellness, like less is more. Start
Mhm.
with one thing. I mean, my doctor who prescribes my supplements and who does all my blood work and everything, when he writes the paper for the supplement protocol, he'll
Mhm.
give you 10 fucking supplements. But he'll say his thing that he always writes on the paper is start low, go slow.
I mean, that's it though, right?
And that is the wisdom of all of this stuff. Like, don't make a smoothie with 18 ingredients. Protein
You can
powder,
digest that.
you can't.
I can't digest that.
That's what I mean. When I was doing all the stuff like with so retrograde, when I was getting like all the things,
Mhm.
my gut was so fucked up
Yeah, because
because
it's not like real food.
it's not real food.
No,
And
I know. It's that
yeah.
but this is so I think as you're speaking, it really comes down to this idea of as human beings, by and large, we're happier when we are creating than consuming. And so one of the things I've been thinking about is like I live with a very creative person. He's way more creative than I am. He's like 12 projects going simultaneously. It's like
He's
he
fucking
just it,
tapping in the attic. He's making butter. He's fucking strumming that guitar. He's wearing a hat.
it's like I
He's
mean
building
really
your backyard. Like
I
this man.
it's like really and I am my creativity extends basically in one area which is with words,
Yeah.
writing, right? Sometimes I bake. I'm getting better. But that's really where I there's a symbiotic relationship for me between reading and writing. And when I write something, it literally feels like I've let go of something.
Hmm.
But I don't know about anyone else, but or this isn't really creative, but I do love like clearing out the weeds. It's so Virgo, right? In my yard. But
But doing stuff like
that's
that activates creativity. Like for me, I identify as creative just to put the pin in this for you is like the thing that activates my creativity is not sitting at my computer. It's cleaning my closet. It's weeding. It's doing very like rote things
yes.
that then make my creativity like the structure of that gives creativity a place to like go. Where just
Yes.
okay, now I'm going to be creative. Now it's like that's not really how it works.
Yes. So when you were saying like what is the what is the thing we want to seed instead of like, wellness is dead or whatever, as like what I was
Though I
thinking
am making those fucking shirts.
you're making those shirts. One of the things that I was thinking is that we can start talking about, and maybe in inviting people, I'm doing this live, inviting people into a conversation about what is your creative process?
Yeah.
Like, because if creativity is enlivening, right? And creating and I also mean just like not to sell, but just also the act of creating itself, right? I don't, I mean, I couldn't sell what I bake, but it's just that act of like, right? It's like, what, there's so many different creative process. Like Danielle has a totally different creative process than I do. Like I need tons of downtime of doing no thing and then an idea marinates. And mostly I don't write when there's too much going on because my ideas come when there's a lot of space and I'm doing everything but writing, like you said.
I think that, well, for me, I'm just thinking of something that for me is like a health creative thing that I do,
Mhm,
which
mhm.
is I got really into making tea infusions. So
Interesting.
it's like a combination of all the things that I love, which is like touching stuff. Like I love
Tactile.
tactile, even though I'm like a writer and not like a
Mhm,
tactile artist, like
mhm,
touch is my strongest sense. Like
mhm,
that's my like thing.
mhm.
My secret talent is that I'm really good at giving massages, but I don't tell anyone because then that's all I would do.
Oh,
Um,
you're blasting it right now to
I know, but
25
no one
people.
here. Well, I just went to my friend's house. She just gave birth, and I was like, "Listen, she has such a bad headache." I was like, "I have this like special Chinese medicine like serum that I buy
Yeah.
from my doctors." I'm like, "I think it would really help if I came over and like rub that in your scalp and give you a head massage." And like giving her a head and face massage, and she's like, "What the fuck? Like, why are you so good at this?" And I was like, "I go, all my talents are hidden." I don't want people to know. Very Scorpio energy, like.
Uh-huh.
Anyways, but the point is that making tea infusions hits all the points for me of touching the herbs,
Mm.
putting thing, kind of inventing my own like potion of health where like
Yeah.
I'm not saying like not someone's like, don't like take oat straw. Like, okay, cool. But like what can I mix the oat straw with to make it taste yummy and also maybe like give this other system a boost or whatever. Like it's fun for
Yeah.
me. And then I have like a beautiful cabinet of all loose teas. And it makes me feel really connected to my own body and my own process on like all these levels. And it is a creative act because I'm making choices of
I
what to
love that.
food and
Need to get, yeah.
it's like delicious. And it's just really, I'll take a photo. I have like a full like apothecary cabinet. And to me, that's like an example of caring about your health, doing it in a creative way, but not doing it in a way that's like consumer culture. It's like deeply personal and
Yeah.
feels outside of any like trend or any, it makes me just
Yeah.
feel like a real witch, which is what I really love.
I
I'm like,
love that.
this isn't about like being a wellness girly. I'm like, this is about being a fucking high priestess who like makes
I,
her own peace.
yes. I feel like when I was a little girl, I used to make Tinkerbell potions. Like
Yes. It's like that
literally.
like, for a grown up.
Yes. Yes, exactly. And I love tea. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, you've seen my tea drawer, right? So I
Yeah.
totally hear you. And I think that's an act, right? Like that's a thing that's like feels good and you feel connected and it's creative and it's fun and it's tactile.
Yep.
And I think that's a big part of it. It's like in the feeling of making. That's why I think making like the arts and crafts movement is growing so strongly.
Yeah.
It's like a reaction to. You know what someone told me? That did I say this already on this at some point? That the arts and crafts movement started in the 1860s to help former slaves like have business and like develop. And I didn't know that.
Whoa.
And I had no idea. But Neptune, which is arts, is having a it's having the return from that period of time ish. Um, and there's something like that feels like that's coming alive again. Like I post about this brand, I'm a Jean and Willie, that like made me fall in love with Nashville. And they make everything in America. It's old school craft. It's like denim and different clothing. But there's something about real craftsmanship
Totally.
that it feels good to purchase because you're supporting, but also like there's real artistry out there. Like, there's been a lot of focus on like content creation, but there is like, if you go to a fair and you see like this incredible woodwork or like, I don't know, there's just like amazing people doing amazing
Yeah.
arts and crafts. And I don't mean that in a derogatory way. I mean that like in awe.
Yeah.
Right. And I feel like, I don't know, about other places, but I will say in Nashville, like mill workers, there's a lot of focus on like different mill workers and, new restaurants or shops that open up and you see this incredible millwork and you're like, oh my God, they're like, people have such enormous talent
Yeah.
in physical work. I know this sounds obvious, but it's like, I'm like, oh, you guys are well. Like there's something like
Yeah.
you are creating, you are connected to
The
that. You
connect
are, yeah,
is, and I think that's what the thing is, like when you spend time on your phone, you're focusing on content creation or whatever, it makes you feel empty because it's not really connected to anything. Whereas like making a tea blend, like
yeah,
makes me feel way more purposeful
yes,
because
yeah,
it's just it's a full five senses integration experience. I mean, not so much hearing, but okay, four senses.
yes. I think that's, I mean, people are always trying to send me, you know, spiritual books. And, what I always say is like all the spirituality you need is in Dostoevsky and Shakespeare and like James Baldwin. Like it's all
Mhm.
there. You don't really need. Um, but literature to me, it, it doesn't have an agenda. It's just here is a human experience.
Yeah.
And I always, even if I'm writing about astrology, I really, if it's like a long form thing, it feels so much better to me. I don't wanna write something that feels didactic or like I'm teaching. What I wanna do is share how astrology weaves into life and how it's all part like, that's so much more it's gonna it would land to me in receiving it much more than, "Here's 5 ways that you can work with a Capricorn moon." Like, I
Well,
don't
you're
wanna read that.
reminding me of something that I think is shifting greatly in the collective, and I feel like you could probably explain this in the astrology, ironically, but it's that we were in a state for many years of bypassing,
Yeah,
using, I mean, it's like one of the biggest jokes, like love and light, like
yeah, yeah,
using this sort of framework to bypass the more difficult, painful human experiences and
yeah,
putting this etheric spirituality on a pedestal over the spirituality of living.
yeah.
Like, it's true. I mean, I am a spiritual person. I do have a connection to something that is not
Mhm,
myself, which I believe is, that is to me spirituality is the gift of the gift of humanness, that we do have a connection to spirit,
mhm,
that
mhm.
we are like, to me, having a baby was also like losing my mom and having a baby were the two like most like explosive spiritual experiences of my life, obviously.
Oh, yes.
But they both showed me in different ways how we are both matter and consciousness. We are both DNA and matter and consciousness and spirit in one thing. And you see it in death and you see it in birth. And
Yes.
it's so potent and so intense. And so I love what you're saying, which is that the true spirituality is in the act of living as a human being, not as seeking for something that is going to like make that almost like more palatable for you. Like the difficulty of humanness and working through that and understanding your connection to something larger than yourself while you go through that is like the beautiful spiritual experience. It doesn't have to be this other thing. And the bypassing is, I think, what got us to this place in the first place, where we have all these, sorry, but like fake teachers and very unintegrated teachers and many teachers in like extreme ego and all these people. Add that to like everyone feels like they can have a fucking platform. And we're just in this place where everyone's looking to people who haven't really lived the life or done the work or walking a path that is even something to aspire to, because they're only sharing this very small part of it.
Right. Like I said too. one of my clients that is having a lot of my clients are having a lot of awareness around this, but one client in particular, I said, because there is the vantage point of like, oh, I'm triggered by this. How can I heal this or whatever? But I said, are you ever triggered when you see a video from Carolyn Mace? I love her, or, if you saw Pima Chodron talking or Elizabeth Lesser or like 5 minutes. Are
They're
you
like,
ever
now they're gonna have
triggered?
flying at the door, like get to the bedroom. Like, okay, relax.
Are you ever triggered? And she was like, no, you can be, sometimes I'm contemplative, but I'm never triggered. I said, right, because what they're sharing is true and
Hmm.
it's actually there to help you. You, this is tricky because it's nuanced, but like if you are watching someone and they are sharing, you know, d- their version of spirituality, but you feel like shit about yourself, there is something being emitted
Hmm.
that is more in the narcissistic, selfish realm versus even if it's
That
cast as
is the
helping,
real pandemic. Narcissistic spiritual teachers.
right? But like if you, right, like I just has anyone ever been, I mean, Carolyn Mace isn't in a bikini being like, it's just, these are the spiritual truths about, you know what I mean? Like, these are the spiritual truths um, that I'm that we all have to reckon with. Like, what are we doing on this blue and green ball in the middle of, like, where do we go? Like, where did we come from? But also here, what are we doing here? What is the choice that I'm making? And what are the structures? What are the responsibilities? What are the duties? Like, where is my heart? Like, these deeper questions about what it means to be a human being, if someone is really really exploring that, you're probably not going to be triggered by it in the
Right.
same way. Like, okay, you may not like their voice or whatever, but if someone is showing off and saying, I know this spiritual truth, you know, it probably isn't going to feel good because it's probably not coming from a place that's true exploration. But there are teachers out there who have been doing this work for a very long time and really have wisdom to share. It's just, you know, there's this other thing. But I think that what I'm saying is like, it's turned into another thing of like, oh, you're triggered by me. That's just your own shit. And you have to work through why you're triggered. But also, I don't know, like maybe there is something to that. Maybe there is something to like, looking at what am I putting out and why? And like what am I taking in? Because that's what we have. What am I taking in? And if I am deeply triggered by this person and I feel bad about myself, I feel, like the thing I would say is like instead of like what's the deep trigger, like maybe not taking this in, maybe looking to like true old school teachers.
Yeah, man, you just said something that I really was like, fuck, I want to remember that because I really want to talk about this next week, which
Yeah.
is that, how did you put it? It was about like, there's just so much in what you just said, just about like examining what we're really here doing, living,
Mhm. Mhm.
and the presence of mind and the presence of spirit that each individual needs to cultivate in
Mhm.
order to create that reality for themselves.
That's not easy work.
Is not easy work, but that is the way that we disconnect and deprogram from the running a million miles a minute trying to keep up with the thing that we're
Mhm.
like,
Mhm.
yes, we want to be healthy, and yes, we want to be
Mhm.
well, and yes, we want to be happy, and yes,
Mhm.
we want
Mhm.
to,
Mhm.
deal with all the things that are
Mhm.
a part of us. But how we individually choose, and then by virtue of that, find community
Mhm.
that is the
Mhm.
same. it's the same conversation of values and really making a conscious choice to say, like, this is what I'm here doing on earth. This is what I'm here. This is how I'm
Mhm.
living my life.
Mhm.
I think if we can all kind of embolden ourselves to examine that more deeply, then we do give ourselves permission to find true teachers,
Mhm.
find
Mhm.
true health,
Mhm.
find true
Mhm.
community, because then it's so tethered to like the resonance that we have inside of us instead of the messaging and the programming, the attachment to everything that's going on outside, which is like honestly fucking chaos.
It's a lot of noise, but like
Yeah.
that's why I go back to like, spiritual teachings that worked 2000 years ago, or like 80 BC to, are still relevant today.
Yeah.
They're still relevant.
Yeah.
And like the ancient Greeks, if you want to stoicism or like whatever, it's so cute. But it's there. It's like
Tyler, you can let him in. You can let him in. Yeah, well,
what acupuncture anyway.
him screaming at the door is really sad. Says he promised that. Hi, you want to say hi to everyone on live? Okay, come here.
I mean, look at this child. I cannot. I look at this child. Hi.
Gosh. Do you want to sip of my emphasis?
Henry's jealous and he wants. Hi, Bubba's. Bubba's. Yeah.
Yummy. You want a sip of water?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Cut you up, but he was literally pounding at the door and I just couldn't.
Yeah. Of course.
But yeah,
Anyway, I think next week let's continue. Continue the conversation about the creative process, but
yeah.
also
Mm.
no one's reinventing the wheel here. No one needs to.
Yeah, we just need to get back to something more simple
That's it.
and more aligned and true. And that's what I was kind of saying in that post yesterday that I ended up taking down because I just couldn't handle like all the, and I was like, it's not a perfectionist thing. I was like, I can't handle all the things that I didn't
Mm-hmm.
align with. But what I was saying is like, I think that we grew up kind of chasing this idea of perfectionism and creating this version of ourselves that is like
Yeah.
perfect. That's what all the healing stuff is all about too. Like we're chasing something perfect, but instead we should all be seeking to feel aligned.
Yeah, I mean, I also think about like I was listening to this interview with Brad Pitt, and he was like, I he's like, I had to be an artist, and I had to be, don't sell out, don't sell out. And he was saying how he still has some of that. And there's this amazing book called The '90s by Chuck Klosterman, and reading that book, I was like, I am so influenced. The '90s did shape me, and I was born in
Yeah.
'80s, so that makes sense. But like in the '90s, people were like, they were quirky and like nuts and like, but those ideas of spirituality that were present in the '90s, they were simpler. And it wasn't what I'm getting at is it really wasn't a kind of perfectionism. It was more like a don't sell out. And then we had
I internalized that when I moved to LA and was trying to live that life. And then I was like, but I need
yeah,
money.
no, yes, there's that. But I definitely think that, you know, the, someone who was born in '90, a decade after me, is going to have a different experience. Just like someone born in 2000 is going to have, they had different cultural, they took in something very different culturally than I did.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, so that all matters too. But I just think there's something really beautiful in like what feels good to create
Yeah.
in our free time. Even,
Yeah. And
tinctures or whatever, it's like, "Hi, boobas." Um, I have to go to acupuncture, speaking of.
okay, this is
Love
so
you.
fun. Asher, do you want to say bye? Say bye to Danny. Say bye.
Yeah, I mean, come on. I mean, that is spirituality.
Like incarnate.
Are you kidding?
Pure joy. Oh, you know what else is spiritual? This poop that you just obviously made. My Lord. Um hey, enjoy acupuncture. Thank you
Thank
everyone for being here. And if you have any comments or feedback, can you just put them in the posted post so that we can continue to dialogue?
And listen to that. He's perfection. Okay.
Yeah.
Love you.
So funny. Okay, love you. Bye.